Welcome to Built to Finish. I'm your host, Stephen Pivnik. Join me each week as we explore the journeys of audacious goal setters. This includes experienced founders, CEOs, and entrepreneurs sharing pivotal moments that propel their success. We'll also be talking with endurance athletes who push the limits of physical and mental ability. This show is brought to you by Acresis, offering tailored, high-impact advisory services to help founders get to their finish line with a strategic acquisition or majority investor recapitalization. Let's get started. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Built to Finish. Today's guest is someone who knows how to turn heads and turn outdoor spaces into brand powerhouses. He's an entrepreneur, a growth strategist, and a master of brand experiences. With over 30 years of experience in sales, marketing, and business development, he's helped companies in industries like wellness, hospitality, furniture, medical, and sports, not just to grow, but to really stand out. Whether it's through handcrafted custom furniture that becomes a social media magnet or strategic plans that boost curb appeal and elevate the guest experience, his work is all about helping businesses show up in bold, unforgettable ways. Specializing in hospitality, event activations, corporate rebrands, and small business marketing, he's passionate about creating authentic, creative touchpoints that make brands impossible to ignore. He is the founder and managing director of Colorado Ski Furniture. Adam Vernon, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
It's a pleasure. So when I first came across you and your company, I was immediately in love with some of the products that you create. So I know that I won't do it justice, especially since this is on a podcast. But can you describe some of the outdoor furniture that you
Yeah,
create?
thanks, Stephen. We've been making stuff for almost 20 years now, and I grew up being a ski racer, and I had a bunch of old skis laying around, and we kept moving them from house to house when we, move around the area and upgrade over the years. And I just decided one day, well, I better make something out of all of these because I'm kind of sick of dragging them around, and it didn't really want to make a fence or gate or anything like that. I thought that'd be kind of cool. So always had a dog or two running around our household. But yeah, I made a chair. So, I grew up in the Midwest, the Great Lakes region, and mostly in Michigan. And, back there, everybody had like a lake house with a cool, Adirondack chair or something like that. Seemed like, so just coming out to Colorado, I felt like everybody had just picnic tables and wrought iron chairs and really boring kind of patio furniture, honestly, here like 20, 25 years ago. And so, those $20 little plastic mold chairs at Walmart or something started coming out around that time as well. But I just decided to make something nice and sturdy and comfortable and long lasting. So I started with some of my old skis and, I kept seeing them around town, and every time we'd go to a yard sale or a garage sale or something like that with my kids, they were looking for, toys and sporting goods and all that stuff. So we just kept seeing ski everywhere. And, back then it's still kind of like that, but now there's a little more value in them than there used to be. But I just felt like it was the world's best 2x4 and kind of still use that as a joke, all these years later. But they're tough to work with, but they really are super strong. And now that we have thousands of them, you can really curate designs and collections for luxury hotels and, short-term rental folks love us, and all the Airbnb people. They want something really cool and durable and kind of stands out, something that people want to take their photo in or perhaps, book your property because it's there. We work with a lot of realtors and people that do staging and stuff like that. And then we kind of got into a bunch of other similar stuff now. So, kind of expanded our product line into all kinds of different other fun stuff that just works well, in that furniture space, and kind of that just like a statement piece is one we kind of started using a while back. I like that. Like it's something that stands out, and it's kind of fun.
It definitely does. I'm a big skier. I go all over the place, and I see ski furniture everywhere. So now I know who the company is that manufactures
Yeah, we
those
do a
things.
lot of them. I think we're definitely the biggest company in the country, if not in the world. And we've got about almost 20 employees and we ship all over the world, mostly all over the US. It's mostly the lower 48 because shipping gets a little crazy when you're outside of this area. But for certainly for bigger orders, you can do, we've done full containers and we've done semi trucks. We had the TJX company, they picked up a full truck of stuff for Sierra Trading Post yesterday. That's kind of cool. We've done big orders for like baseball stadiums and breweries and a lot of the sports teams and some of the bigger hotel chains as well. So it's kind of cool to get those bigger bulk orders, but it's more often, it's one ski lift bench or, a set of 6 chairs for a fire pit or something like that. But just really fun, creative orders. Like the customers come up with new ideas all the time, and we can usually integrate whatever they're thinking into the design process too. So not just colors and whatnot, but like complete different, custom builds and things like that. So it's still pretty fun after, almost 20 years of doing this. It's really neat. Like you never know what people are going to come up with and, you know, different challenges we can meet to just make their space special or their event really stand out.
Yeah, that's a good segue into my next question. So you've been doing this for 20 years. What would you say the secret is to your longevity? And are you having as much fun today as you were when you first started out?
It depends on the day. There's been a lot of rough ones, I think, in the last few years. The economy has been kind of teetering for a lot of us. In not every industry, but a lot of them. We were actually our gold rush era was really during COVID. We had a slow time there, and only for a few months, and then we just started doing a lot of promotions and realized everyone's kind of trapped at home, and so they wanted cool things for their home. So we blew up during then where our labor and sales and everything doubled, that couple of years in there. So it was crazy. We haven't seen it that busy since, but that was all business to consumer, it was all B2C stuff. And now we're going a lot stronger on the B2B side, which is really fun too. It's different, but we do a lot of both. And yeah, I'm still having fun. I think trying to recreate, what's working and kind of meet people where they're at and what they need nowadays. It certainly does change every year, every few years. We see a lot of different trends. So I'm just always trying to keep it fresh, keep it interesting, keep my team putting out new things and, continue to evolve, I guess, the product line, but it's still really fun. Most of our customers are really cool and people that get, having like a special item and, we're not always fast because a lot of these customs take a little extra time or, some welds or paint to dry or all the little things, there's a lot of little steps. So mostly people are really patient with us and we push hard to try to do everything fast and correct. So, yeah, it's just, it's harder than ever to stay competitive. I think the rising costs socially, ads and all of that is extra tough as well. But I still think there's a ton of opportunity for small business if you plan smart and try a lot of things and don't be afraid to take risks and really go for it. Like if you've got a great team, I think you can still really make it nowadays. You have to work.
I agree. Speaking about taking risks, are there any examples of things that you've tried that didn't work? And two-part question: how long did you keep at it until you figured out that the idea wasn't a good idea, and you ended up just scratching it?
All the time. Honestly, it's kind of in the nature of what we do. Like we try a new product at least every month, if not every week. And we know that, 40 of them are going to fall on their face. If we do a lot of them in a year, if we get one every week throughout the year, which we don't always do anymore, but, we know if there's 10 winners in there though, you got, 20% of the new stuff you tried this year is going to hit, is going to last, is going to stick around. And, customers and employees, people come up with new ideas all the time, and some of them are great and actually work. And a lot of the really cool sounding ideas just don't work due to cost or maybe shipping costs or, just labor involved or, sourcing certain materials that we maybe can't find, but there's always different challenges in there that it's hard to predict really till you get it to market. And then in other ones, like they've been dead. I've had products sit for years, like 2, 3, 4 years, and then I'll sell like 10 of them on like the fourth or fifth year, which makes no sense. It's like the strange trends. So I don't always give up on things right away. I probably should. It's what is that, Mr. Wonderful? Or Kent's like go up behind the barn and shoot it kind of thing. Or if this thing isn't scaling immediately. But when we have so many different products, it's kind of easier to have some of the, the slow movers and fast movers. And, it's always a mix of those no matter what's going on. But yeah, it is challenging, and you do have to be honest with yourself sometimes of like, haven't sold this one in 2, 3 years. Like that's no longer going to be on the website. I did a little purge of that this week. I think we killed 150 products out of our 1,000 products. So it's a little annoying again. Yeah. And I'll ask my guys like, which ones do you hate the most, please? Which ones really eat your labor out and, are not a good use of everybody's time. So we'll get feedback from the crew a lot too. And that's kind of neat too, to just give everybody a chance to say, hey, that's too much. Like that's rough.
So I assume in your business, it's relatively easy to come up with a concept, post it on social media or other ways of advertising, and then seeing if there's any demand before you actually start investing hard dollars into developing the product. Is that true?
Somewhat, yeah. We try not to, overcommit or whatever, or do something that's just a little bit different. So it's not a huge drain on labor, or planning or research. We're pretty light as far as approvals and processes. I mean, we don't have a huge team really, so it's 2 or 3 of us will get together and chat about stuff, and we'll kind of agree on 1 or 2 things we want to get going on right away, and then try it out. Maybe post even a prototype that's not really done, and kind of ask our audience, what do you guys think, or what do you like about it, what do you not like about it? So we can do that based on our internal plans or external plans. And then, if customers want something, we can usually almost always do it, but sometimes the price gets crazy if it's a lot of extra work. So there's always a lot of layers to that.
So we talk a lot on this show about recurring revenue. I mean, you've got an incredible product. You get really, really satisfied customers. How many of these customers turn into repeat customers that buy from you again versus like one-time purchases?
Quite a few. It's a lot of times, we'll get somebody will save up and can buy the house that they wanted and get the deck put on that they wanted, and they'll get their set of 6 or 8 chairs, and we may never hear from them again. And sometimes that still just feels like a win because, we know they went through a process of looking at everything and kind of putting their whole plan together, and then they got everything they needed from us and kind of moved on. And they may not, come back until 5, 10 years later when maybe they got a second property. Now it's a vacation home, or it's their Airbnb, or maybe they're, going to get a set for their kids for their wedding or something like that. But there's a lot of one and dones, and, the life cycle of that usually is a pretty solid one, versus other people that they get 1 chair the first year. Oh, I'm get this for my wife. She's a big skier. It's her 50th birthday. And then the next year, she comes back and gets him one. It's her 50th birthday. And then they come back again the following summer and they get 2 more. So that, friends and family that are coming over, they can enjoy them as well. So it's quite a few people do it kind of on a return basis like that too. So we always just try to make them super nice. And some people are actually really happy. And, if they're not coming back, like they got their full set, maybe they will send in friends, family, stuff like that. So we do a ton of business off of word of mouth and referrals too. So always appreciate that,
Sure. So what are some of your strategies for keeping staff motivated and happy with what they're doing?
I mean, the typical pizza party is kind of funny. I've seen memes about that all the time, but
It works,
a
right?
couple of my guys are from Texas. So my web developer and my general manager. So we'll get a brisket. So I'll do stuff like that, and we'll, have a really nice meal. And we try to do that a lot, and really just try to be close with, most of our employees and really get to know, what their needs are and really take care of them. Like we all basically have this, you know, quite a few different roles, and we all just do what it takes to kind of get by. And quite a few of us end up doing several different job descriptions, throughout the day, throughout the week. And so we really try to give people a chance to grow, a chance to contribute, kind of do more of what they're good at, but also like be able to support us in other ways. It's not uncommon for our guys to be a builder and one of the sales guys and a delivery person, and maybe they're doing something online or they're making videos for us, things like that. So we kind of all wear a lot of hats, and we try to give them super flexibility on their work schedules and their vacation days, and just kind of treat them like family is, I guess, a real strength here. So yeah, we have pretty low turnover due to that. So nobody's getting rich in this game. We're all working hard and not making much, but it's like, there's a lot of really cool intangibles that we try to keep it really fun place to be and to stick around, so it works pretty well.
Sounds like it's a great place to work, and it always helps when the founder and the owner of the company, lends a helping hand and chips in, and nothing is below him or her. There's too many founders that I come across that say, you know what, I'm gonna keep playing the boss card and sit in my shiny office and not get my hands dirty anymore because I've earned it. And I just don't subscribe to that mentality. I think there's nothing wrong with getting your hands dirty as often as you're comfortable with.
I'm constantly cleaning the shop and taking out the trash and making the difficult customer, service type calls and complaints and returns and damages. And, we all have issues like that over time. We try to keep them to a minimum, but, if you're getting your shipping label, it might be from my cell phone number, just be just texting, like literally I can do almost all the jobs still at the shop, and all my guys are the same way as, the ones that have been there for a year versus quite a few guys have been there over 5, 6, 7 years. So we all kind of just have an all hands on deck and bring whatever we can to try to make the customer experience the best, and, really keep our ratings really high. And, we're always going to have problems, but I always tell the guys, just take care of the problem, whatever it is, like make sure they're happy, like do whatever you need to get the person happy. And then, ends up being a lifelong customer. And those are the ones that are most likely to come back. Honestly, it's like something did go wrong, and we fixed it and took care of them. And now they really like it. They really bonded to us and they appreciate that. So I think it's a big deal too. And maybe a little underdone nowadays, like it, used to be more that way. I feel like a little bit in just doing business around town.
Hey everyone, just a quick break from the show to review the top 3 things that I talk to many founders about that are looking to maximize the valuation during an exit. 1, are your books in order? 2, is there enough growth left in the business for the acquirer? And number 3, what is your sizzle? What is that special sauce that's going to take many years for a competitor to recreate? If you have those 3, you're definitely going to be maximizing your valuation upon exit. Now back to the show. No, I totally agree. I mean, it reminds me of the culture that we had at my company. It was, if a customer has a problem, that problem became, let me do that again. If a customer had a problem, that problem became our problem immediately. And we literally did not go home until it was solved. Now, in the software space, it was a little bit easier because we can just fix things remotely most of the time. You're dealing with a manufactured item, probably a little bit easier. It's probably a little bit harder to fix right away.
Yeah, sometimes there's a lot of steps involved, and it may take days or weeks or months to resolve some of these, but usually it's a quick thing, and we can just, call, text, email, get them on the phone and figure out, what's wrong, what do we need to fix, get it done, move on. So we've got a whole team ready for that. And so, we go weeks sometimes without any issues, and then you'll have 3 or 4 in the same week.
Oh yeah, It's like anything else. When it rains, it
Yeah,
pours. Either on the sales side or on the support side.
absolutely. So it's just, we're kind of all used to the roller coaster, and most weeks are good weeks, so that's good. But sometimes it's just lots of challenges, and shipping is probably our biggest problem overall, and that's really not that bad. I think we're down to like 1 out of 40, 1 out of 50 shipments have any issue. And that may be like they were just a day or two late, or they dropped the box and got a scratch, or, one of the little legs fell off because somebody hit it with a forklift. And then all those are really easy fixes. Like, we'll send you some tester paint, we'll send you a new leg, we can expedite the shipping if it's not going to make it on time. And there's usually very easy fixes. Some of them are more complicated, but that's a few a year. So we've really done pretty well with trying to streamline what we do and avoid a lot of that stuff now too. So we get smarter every year for sure.
I'll always be learning, I say. So I'm assuming social media plays a big role in your go-to-market strategy. Is that correct assumption?
Yeah, absolutely. I think my daughter recommended we get a Facebook page back in like 2007. And, that's been a pillar of just kind of our public face, I think, ever since then. And just ability to reach a lot of different people and businesses, I think, on there. And the other 10 platforms that we use all of them now. So it's like, the more eyeballs you can get in front of, and everybody kind of has their preferences of which platforms they like, but we try to kind of get out there as much as we can and post stuff pretty regularly just to, connect with as many people as we can. It's definitely a game changer on, sales, marketing, and advertising. When I was in college in the 90s, none of that was even around. So we didn't know about it. We've had to all learn it, on the fly here.
Yeah, I mean, I often hear from some executives saying, like, "I'm not gonna advertise on Facebook because I don't use Facebook and I don't like it." And I'm like, I think that's a very wrong way to think about things because your customers may be using it, and if so there's still a ton of usage out there, and I talk on the flip side, I speak to companies that you would never think advertise on Facebook, and they get most of their business from paid Facebook ads. So it remains a market opportunity to promote products across all
I
industries.
agree. I'd say Google, Google's huge too, and Instagram, and now TikTok and YouTube. And, we're really strong on some of those, and, a little less strong on others. But, my web developer, Chris, who started pushing us onto Reddit, and, we tried Nextdoor, and we tried, we got into the TikTok ads last year. Like, we've tried a lot of these different platforms, but yeah, Instagram and Facebook seem to be still kind of the kings of social. And I think, YouTube and Google are a little different, but they're same kind of idea. Just, the more people you can reach. And yeah, it may not be, I think as an owner, founder, you need to get out of your own way and realize you may not like any of these or, most of these, but really, who are your customers, and are any of them on there, or are all of them on there? And that's probably a place you need to pay somebody, an intern or one of your staff, to just, spend a little time on there and get out there, because it's such a huge um, platform that you can semi easily really target the people that you want to see your stuff too. So that's a huge benefit where you can tell all these ad platforms to not show your stuff to, 95% of the world. You only want them to show them to these people with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you know, descriptions or, demographics about them. And it's pretty good at that. So that's really been a game changer too. And I think it's a huge key for a small business. If you're not already doing all of that, definitely do that.
No, I couldn't agree more. And like you said, the cost of entry is relatively small. You can definitely run a little pilot to see on the impact that a little ad is going to make. And once you see positive results, which if done right, you will, then you can easily increase the ad spend and have it go
Yeah. I
wider.
mean, I've had $500 ads that have failed over the years, but I've had 50 and $100 ads that have sold, 5, 10 items like it pretty quickly. And, it's pretty amazing, even we joke around like some of our specialty chairs, like we paint these Day of the Dead sugar skulls and we paint these beautiful, forests and landscapes and, you know, all these tourist destinations and things like that. And, then we'll just paint something super, super basic and it won't even perform well on social media and the ad doesn't do well. And we'll sell like 8 of them. And wait a second. The ones that everyone loves, those don't even sell sometimes or don't sell for like a year. And then other ones, it's just you post it once, spend nothing on it, and you're selling out. Like it's really unpredictable too, but it's also pretty great for that. Like it is kind of a testing ground and you never really know what's gonna hit. But if you're not participating, you're definitely not gonna do well, So you just gotta continually participate on there without too much reservation. I think just constant effort, maximum effort and see where you land.
Yeah, exactly. And also do a whole bunch of A/B testing to see, which ads work versus others, and then double down on the ones that work.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can see the ones that really are going and then, put a little gas in that engine and see if you can't get it to go, 2, 3, 4 times farther. And like, then you never know who you might reach. Like that's still very possible now, even though some of the platforms are a little saturated, but most of them aren't. We've been doing a lot on LinkedIn lately too. That one's seems to be doing better and better. So really enjoying that one as well.
Oh, I agree. I think LinkedIn is an untapped opportunity. Most companies think that that's purely a B2B place, but there's a lot of consumer products that would do well there because you'll stand out from all the other business ads that are popping up. A really cool consumer product like yours, I can see it doing well on LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's been a good one for us. We've tried a number of different things now, and it seems that they all do pretty well in different ways. But yeah, I want to continue to switch up uh, just different strategies on there too, because I feel like that platform's really growing right now. Um, and it's mostly just a really good experience on there. There's not as much, spam and in some of the negatives that some of the other platforms have. It's pretty limited on there. So it's pretty great. We've been reaching a lot more people, I think, that are a little more relevant to what we're doing too. So that's been pretty cool. Really like that one.
Nice. So going back 20 years to when you had the idea for this business to the day that you actually started it, what gave you the confidence to drop whatever else you were doing at the time? Well, first question is, what were you doing at the time before you started this? And what was that final spark that gave you the confidence that, yes, I'm going to go forward with this?
It's a long answer. I'll try to give you the bullet points essentially. But yeah, I kept collecting skis and just kind of had these collections that we would move around, and um, just I finally kind of got sick of just letting the pile grow. So I, dove in there. My family got me some tools for Christmas one year. I think it was 2006. And so, yeah, it came school break, kids were home and we were all kind of hanging out. And the internet was pretty, not great back then in 2006. There wasn't that much on the internet. It was decent, but, finding like Adirondack chair plan wasn't really something I got a lot of results on. But, nowadays there are probably thousands of those. But yeah, back then, I mean, I found a few ideas that I kind of liked, and so I just started tinkering around with it. And, with doing the social media and then having all my friends and family say, oh, that's really cool. And then I started selling a few around town and then decided, okay, I'm going to make the business, I guess. Kind of reluctant with this is my little garage business launch, and I had a full-time job. I was kind of like a drug rep, but I was really like a nutraceutical sales rep. So like fancy supplements and diet and lifestyle stuff. So we were teaching all the alternative kind of progressive doctors how to read blood work and, support people with supplements and change their diets and things like that. So it was really doing well. And the whole wellness industry was really booming at that time. And so this was just kind of my stress reliever, weekend work, and then that business started struggling more and more with regulations, and I ended up getting laid off, I think in 2014, and this was just kind of my side gig, and I thought maybe I should give it a shot. By that time I had a couple of employees, and I just was tinkering around with it. Honestly, didn't really make money.
So that definitely helps with it. That definitely helps with the decision, right? When you have a full-time job and you've got your side hustle, and then when the full-time job disappears, then it's almost like a no-brainer to jump in with 2 feet and give it a go, right?
Yeah, I tried a couple other kind of part-time gigs and got a couple job offers I wasn't too excited about, and then just thought, you know what? So let's give it a shot. So yeah, like 2014, 15, 16, I just dove in and gave it my all. And, we grew exponentially those 3 years. And I think, yeah, by 2017, 2018, I was like, this is paying the bills. Who would have thought? Didn't really know I was going to do it. And here we are. So it was really kind of a pleasant surprise and something I honestly kind of stumbled into. So it was, a lot of hard work, but obviously like I didn't really know where it would go. So it's pretty cool to see it, come so far in all these years.
No, definitely. Very cool to see where it's come. And again, it's hard to see the products if you're listening to this podcast, but I'll let you give all of the listeners information about where they can go to see the products and how they can contact you if they have any questions.
Yeah, for sure. So ColoradoSkiChairs.com is still our website after all these years. We go by Colorado Ski Furniture as well, and more of our prominent name now. That's on all of our social medias. But if you search Colorado Ski Furniture or Colorado Ski Chairs, you should get to us. On any of your favorite platforms, really, we're on all of them now. We have a big Etsy store, and if you're in Colorado Springs area, we're 10 minutes west of downtown Colorado Springs. We're right on Pikes Peak, next to Garden of the Gods and little downtown Manitou Springs. It's a fun little kind of artsy, just outdoor recreation type town. And it's beautiful. Manitou Inclines here, which is the #1 trail in the whole state. It's really popular all the time. So you kind of have to drive by our place to get to that. So it's pretty neat. But yeah, if you want something durable, kind of made for the mountains, we don't only do skis and snowboard stuff, but we do whiskey and wine barrel stuff. We do lots of barnwood art, and I started making those giant wooden chairs and the giant ski lift benches and swings. So it's a lot of different categories of stuff with, skiers and non-skiers. But if you want something really cool, handcrafted, made in the mountains, ours is definitely one of the better shops around. So it's pretty neat. Definitely check it out if you get time.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure people will. And I'm going on my annual heli skiing trip in December. I'll make sure to pitch you to the hotel management staff there to see if we can put some of your products around that resort.
Yeah, I've done heli skiing once. That was pretty phenomenal experience. I'm definitely happy to hear you're doing that annually. That's definitely on my list.
Yep. I'll let you know how my sales pitch goes, and if I need to conference you in to to help out.
Yeah, that's great. No, it's what a fun time. I love it. Yeah. Alone in the mountains is even better, or almost alone.
Agreed. I've done some of that as well. They're both fun. So Adam, listen, thank you very much for taking the time to share your story with us. I'm sure it's very inspirational to a lot of folks that have some side hustles going on that need some inspiration to go all in. And you're a perfect example of, taking a side hustle and turning it into a thriving business. So congratulations on that. And thank you very much for being on the show today.
Thanks a lot, Stephen. I appreciate you having me, buddy. And yeah, happy to give advice anytime too. So reach out if anybody's listening, and hit me up on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for listening to another episode of Built to Finish. If you've enjoyed this, please do like and share. It helps the show a lot. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. That's a wrap for this episode of Built to Finish. Thank you for tuning in. For show notes and more details, head over to podcast.stephenpivnik.com. Special thank you to our sponsor, Acresis, offering tailored, high-impact advisory services that help founders get to their finish line with a strategic acquisition or majority investor recapitalization. Catch you next week.